adopt.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Motion, please.
I made the
move.
motion to accept the minute.
All right.
I'll
Set.
second.
Karen. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we passed. It's passed. Okay, the next thing is, there's not much today, except some things of discussion more than anything else. We're gonna review the complaints that we got. I'm a little confused how to really read this. Who can help us out a little bit about here? From the department?
Who what,
Michelle?
Ben?
Who, Rochelle, is anybody, we can discuss this, the case processing?
This is Jay. I can talk
Okay.
about cases. Yeah.
This is, so, so we've got 35 open cases now, is that it?
No, that's how many were opened during the month of October. The far column is how many total open cases there are.
Okay. You know, one of the reasons we started this some time ago was to find out on the closed cases what was happening, and we never get that information. So, and the main thing is for continuing ed purposes, for educational purposes, we like to know what is what's coming up. That's a problem that we can maybe have added to our continuing ed. You follow me, Jay?
Yeah, no, I think the continuing ed, especially the law class, hits everything. It's just a matter of people paying attention. You know, the biggest thing is, you know, we see a lot of advertising issues. You know, people aren't advertising appropriately. They're not using the correct licensed names, whether it's their individual name or an entity name, things like that.
Okay.
There also continues to be a lot of confusion about referral status. People think referral status is a licensing status, and as I'm sure you know, as far as the state's concerned, there's no such thing as referral status. But they keep trying to change their license to a referral status.
Mhm. How about things like misrepresentation?
We see some of that, but I wouldn't say it's huge.
Anything else you can that would stick out?
I mean, well, wholesaling continues to be a scourge, although it's still technically legal. But there's still a lot of deception around it, and which is difficult to prove.
Well, I think that because of the nature of it, it seems like now every state's got involved in this thing. So we don't know who we're really dealing with any longer. Whether the people are from California or from, it seems like they're all over the place.
Yeah, well, I mean, beginning next July, there will be a credential that they'll have to have. It doesn't really help the consumers that much, I don't think. But at least we'll have, you know, our hands around who's doing it.
Mhm.
It would be
right,
great, you know, if we had a list from the folks who are, you know, handling the complaints, like maybe the top 10 items they're seeing. Would that be helpful, Ben?
absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm telling you. I mean, I can pull up a formal report, but
Doesn't need
it's
to be
generally,
formal.
yeah.
I mean, you guys know what you see. You guys know what the problems are better than anyone because you're the ones handling them.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Advertising tends to be the primary thing. And we, of course, we see tons of CAM complaints. Although the majority of those are actually you know, the responsibility of the board. People, you know, the homeowners don't understand the difference in areas of responsibility. But we've been making a lot of inroads with the CAM community. We actually, over the last 2 weeks, made, attended 2 of their training events. And so doing a lot of education and creating relationships with them that I hope will go a long way to addressing the issues that CAMs do have.
That kind of brings us on to the new business. It appears to be, it seems like, and I had calls on this too, and I actually was involved in a transaction, whereas on CHFA PMI, whereas now the agents, although they call it conventional, because it's CHFA PMI, it's been a nightmare because it's not. Even the bank pre-quals these people as conventional. Have you run into this lately, Amy, Darren?
I don't understand. I mean, you could put CHFA /
No,
either conventional
They're
or
not. They're not
FHA.
doing. They're not doing it. In other words, all they're checking off is conventional.
Oh,
They're
and
not.
leaving the CHFA
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Another complaint was that if you look at the MLS contract, are you familiar with that? The MLS contract?
No, I use the CTR.
Yeah, either CTR or Creative, same thing. But Amy, have you seen that?
What's the question? Yeah, I use the GAR or CTR contract for purchases, but I don't understand what the question is.
The question is that if you look under mortgage financing, it says third-party mortgage, they call it now.
I haven't had anybody use government financing lately for a purchase, but typically the pre-approval letter would indicate whether that person is accessing CHFA funding or.
But it's not. That's the point. It does. What's coming across now is their pre-call letter doesn't show it.
Are they switching after the fact?
That's correct.
Well, then they
Yeah, I
can't.
mean, if the buyer switches after the fact, there's not really
No,
much you can
no,
do
the
about
buyer
that.
not. No, after the fact that I received it, a pre-call letter. It's a bait and switch. I get a conventional thinking, and I asked, "Is this conventional?" Yes. Well, it was. Well, we call a CHFA PM is conventional. Meanwhile, obviously, you think it's a conventional transaction, and then you get a mortgage commitment with about 13 conditions on 3 or 4 or 5 are related all to CHFA.
Yeah, I mean, I have had that in the past. I haven't had it recently,
Mhm.
but the bait and switch thing, yes, is problematic, but honestly, that comes down to the buyer's agent and the lender being forthcoming about information. And if they're lying, like I don't know what to do there other than say to the seller, you are not obligated to do these things because you didn't agree. And frankly, the buyer's deposit, I understand, would then become at risk because a conventional mortgage typically doesn't have repair requirements related to it unless the property is like not a
Well, CHFA
C3
PMI,
condition or whatever.
CHFA PMI does not normally have repairs.
So
It's
have they
none of the law.
changed
It's the
CHFA changed their requirements?
No, CHFA is where the money comes from. The underwriting is either FHA or VA or PMI. PMI is like it.
Ben, explain. I've never seen anything where it said PMI in the financing. Have you, Amy? Like,
No.
No.
Yeah, I don't understand what that is, Ben.
So they call it now just plain conventional. That's what's out there. All right. They're not calling it. They eliminate the CHFA box. They're only saying PMI.
So is this a specific lender issue or?
Well, this case one, this one here, I'm not sure they're all doing it. Well, I think there are several. This was Dime Bank was this one.
Yeah, I think Dime Bank is a large national bank. Yeah, I don't know. Like whenever I get a pre-qual or pre-approval letter in, I typically question what's being sent to me if the lender is not known to me. But I haven't seen anything Like typically if I get a CHAFA loan or an FHA loan or a VA loan, I know there is going, no matter what they say, I expect there to be stipulations related to the appraisal. Even if they say it's conventional,
Yeah,
I would
I
expect
think
that
maybe I
there's
want to talk to maybe the
But we
bank.
also see the loan to value, and we know that it's, that it's one of these types of loans.
not necessarily because
Not
like
necessarily.
you can have a 5% down conventional that's not CHAFA or FHA, and that's fine. And that they typically do not request repairs on those. It's just when it's tied to FHA or CHAFA or VA, usually, unless there's like condition issues with the property that the appraiser just cites. Like I think it has to be a C2 or better condition, otherwise there may be repairs required.
But if
Well,
it's CHFA conventional, CHFA doesn't require repairs.
Because the guarantor is them now. So the PMI doesn't require. It isn't like when FHA does the underwriting or VA or whatever, they require, the first thing is the safety features. There's the rails and whatever that goes along
Yeah,
with
with
that.
FHA or VA, yeah, but it's not
Not,
CHFA.
no,
Conventional.
not PMI. Let's call it PMI. Don't call it CHFA. See, it's the guarantor, okay, of the loan requires these things. Okay, so CHFA is a bonded situation, so they need to have a guarantor. Either loan is going to be guaranteed by FHA, VA, or PMI. Those are three things. The PMI is like any PMI. I mean, they're not looking for the same thing as FHA or VA would look for. But I was just wondering if, and I will look into this, I guess, to find out.
Yeah,
What they're
it may be
saying.
more it may be more lender related than, I mean,
Well, it
Dime
is-
Bank I think is a big bank, so like they're not local really, are they?
I don't think that's their other thing. The thing is what's happening, because we're getting these multi-offers on homes right now. And because CHFA is not as desirable to the seller, CHFA, PMI, whatever. So now they're eliminating the CHFA part and just saying PMI.
So it's just
And then there's
disingenuous.
this.
Yeah. Okay.
See what's going on?
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're not competitive.
Correct. I understand.
So, and I'll look into it because I guess the other thing is that the discrimination of where's the funds coming from. As you know, that's another problem. But I will look into this. I'm just wondering if anybody here has run across this before.
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
I've come across it before where people have bait and switched me, but
Mm.
not recently related to like a CHAFA PMI program.
Yeah.
And if they bait and switch and if they're denied, their deposits at risk because if
Correct,
they're
that's
denied
absolutely
for a
correct.
program that they didn't ask for in the contract.
Right. And or didn't get approved after the fact.
Well-
Like they technically have to ask the seller
But-
permission if they're switching their
well-
financing type.
But even if-
Exactly.
Yeah, but the unfortunate part is the fact is that you wait 4 weeks or 5 weeks
Oh,
or whatever
sure.
and get
The seller's been harmed.
the seller's been harmed. You're putting this house back on the market. The first thing all the agents say is what? Well, what happened to the deal, right? So you've tarnished the sale of this property.
Yep.
So this is and it's
Yeah, the
just not
back on
me. This
market.
has happened. Yeah, there's a concern to it. Other thing, I was looking at my notes. That when we met with PSI for the questions and the exams recently on it, and I had a question on the book, on the Dearborn. That's been
Oh.
around for 50 years. I know, because
Yep.
whatever. Are there any other books are allowed besides Dearborn?
Not
Jason,
as,
do you know this?
not as far as I know.
Well, this actually came up at a session with the education providers recently. And there is nothing to my knowledge anywhere in law that restricts it to any particular book. So I let the educators know they could use any book that they think is appropriate, when they submit a course.
So, but you have to approve the book.
Well, we don't approve the book so much as we approve the course and materials, which would include the book,
With the
but we
book.
but we don't necessarily read every page of a book when we approve materials.
Do you have a list of those books?
No,
Is
we
there-
don't.
is there a
We have a
list?
list of approved courses, but we don't approve books.
So the PMP course that's approved, but Dearborn has always been the text that's been used for.
What's the path of least
And the
resistance?
instructor is, Peter, are you an instructor, Peter?
It's the path of least resistance. If you want to get it approved, the department's already familiar with this. It takes 2 seconds to get it approved this way. If you want to bring in your own novel materials, it's harder. I've also
Yeah.
tried to bring in outside providers and other things, and what they've said to me, across the board is it's too small of a market. I'm not interested in going in.
Oh, the publishers aren't interested
The
in going
publishers,
in.
yeah. I tried to bring in actually, to give you a little more context, for CAM, I was not happy that there's only one provider for CAM materials, and I went out to other providers. They weren't interested.
Wow. Because it's my opinion. What they have to learn with the Dearborn book is ridiculous and, a waste of everybody's time. They don't need to spend, on property management just to get their real estate salesperson's license or the whole, requirements to be an appraiser, et cetera. There's just so much useless information in it. And how would you go about, Peter, now you're saying you tried.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that that it covers the topics that I cared about, and I knew that the department was familiar with it, and it was very easy just to provide them with material that they've already seen and that they've already approved in other cases. Very easy for me. So I took the lazy way out.
But the exam is geared towards the Dearborn book, so in changing the text that they do, it's not going to help them pass the PSI exam.
I
No,
could make my own Peter Gray book. I have every right to do that. I just didn't choose to do that.
No, the exam is not geared towards any book. When
I
we-
can't-
Yeah, the exam is not geared towards any particular book. When we do the exam review, and I'm sure Ben can attest to this, we look at the laws. We don't open any particular book.
But those topics are covered, like property management and government survey systems, et cetera, the stuff that a new agent is never gonna use. That's my contention.
Doesn't matter if it's on the test, they need to know it in order to
Well,
pass the test.
That's what I'm saying. The test is geared towards the information in the Dearborn. The test.
Other way around. The test was created and Dearborn is responsive to the test.
Oh, so the Dearborn gears it towards what's on the exam for PSI, the PSI exam.
The
Right.
general-
Well, what they assume is on the exam. They can't see the exam and they have no access to the test questions. So everything should be based on the law. Both the test and the books should be based on the law because that's what the test is.
But I thought that you do have published practice tests that are based on banks of questions that are either disused or something like that. No?
It's a good question. I know PSI has some practice tests. We don't particularly review the practice tests.
I don't have a problem with it, but if I was Dearborn or another company wanting to compete with Dearborn, I would go straight to the practice test. And, oh, okay, that's what we're going to teach you.
Certainly.
Anything else? I got
No,
a
just more
question.
frustrating.
I got another question. It seems like as long as I can remember, way back, PSI has been doing all the examinations. Is there any, they bid for these. Are there any other companies besides PSI out there?
I believe there are, but the last 2 times they were the only company to actually put a bid in.
I mean, I could say they've been doing this for 50 years. I mean, has it been anybody? I can't believe there's only really the
It's hard
same
to
company.
compete.
Oh,
It's hard to compete. There's a lot of infrastructure you need to build around this thing to be a provider in
well,
so many areas.
I'm not saying. You would think one other. I can only speak for 50 years of this. but it's always been PSI.
As a side note, I just want to give some kudos. Jill has been invited to participate in the exam review for the national exam with PSI. So in December, she'll be traveling to Kansas, I believe, to take part in that.
Lovely,
Congratulations.
lovely, Jim. Someplace you always wanted to go, I am sure.
Yeah, I'll have to get my ruby slippers ready, right? Going to Kansas.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you know something, you may want to give us some notes after this. I'd be curious how it goes.
I
you
did just
excited?
I did just receive in the mail today some books from a new book provider who's anxious to share their books with the state of Connecticut. I'll get you the name, one second. They have an instructor's PowerPoint book that shows all the PowerPoints. They have an instructor's guide, a separate book for a guide, very thorough. They also have the Connecticut exam prep.
What's the name of this? Who's the publisher?
This
Yeah.
is, what is the name of this book? It's called Performance Programs Company. And then they also have the practice, principles and practices. So it's a,
But it would be
Three-
up to Jill, it would be up to the school though, is to
it would
bring
be
it
up
to
to the
you.
school. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, they've been sending me books for the last couple years. And recently they reached out again because they're asking permission to share their books with the state. So I think it's out there that the only book allowed is Dearborn for some reason. It's not in statute or regulation anywhere. It's just been assumed that Dearborn's the only book. Because it is written with some of our folks over at UConn.
Sharon, would you like to review these books?
I would love to. And or you could just give me the information, Jill, and so I could look at them. You
Or
know,
just
I'll get
contact-
them.
Tell them who you are and contact them and
Yep.
have them send you.
Well, I
Yeah,
have,
Jill, could you
I have-
email the information and I'll reach out to them? I'm sure
I
they'll
can-
send them for review.
well, they sent me a double pack. So if you want to review, I can give you one of each. Where are you located, Sharon?
I'm in Woolkit.
Oh.
Where are you, Jill?
I'm in Hartford or Summers. I mean, I'm northern Connecticut,
All right,
so
why don't
I,
we could, I'll reach out to you, Jill, and
Yeah,
we
reach out
could
to me
figure
and
it
we'll
out.
get together, yeah.
I
Perfect.
always love when the consumer or the schools or whoever, I always love it when they have a choice. I always think that's better for everybody.
You know, Sharon,
Well-
I think it would be best is to perhaps maybe contact them. There may be some conversation you're gonna have, open conversation that may be in the back of your mind that you want to speak to them about. So I think it would be best, and then just contact them. She'll give you the information, right, Jill?
Yeah, I'll give her the information. And at the instructor seminar that we just had, there were a couple instructors that are actually using the exam prep book, and they really liked it. So
Great, good,
that's, yeah,
good to have a choice.
Right, and that would still gear them for the PSI test.
yes,
Okay. All right, thank you, Jill.
you're welcome.
So Jill, when are you going to Kansas?
The first week in December. They've, it's at their global, they have a global headquarters, and it's a small city outside of Kansas City. Can't recall the name right now. But all expense paid, they're paying for everything, so it's not costing the state anything. They're inviting 30 people in from around the country to review the national portion of the exam.
I'm sure it's in our fees someplace, but anyhow.
That's
Not,
fabulous.
it's not in our fees. I was surprised. It's all,
Well,
all
we
paid
don't
for.
pay PSI anything for their services. They make all their
Yeah.
money by charging for the tests
Right.
themselves.
Mhm. Right. Okay, anything else? If not, then I guess we meet what now? Let me see, this is November, February, is that right?
I
Oh,
think
yeah, I
that's-
have the 2026 schedule. So the next meeting's February 4th, and then we have May 6th, August 5th, and then November 4th. And I'll have the invites are gonna be sent out shortly, but those are the dates for next year.
Do we have to approve those dates? I feel like we normally do.
No, never did that
No?
before.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, want to wish you all a happy holiday.
Happy
Alright.
holiday,
Happy
Merry-
family.
Happy New
Yeah,
Year.
Same to you,
Okay.
Ben. Yeah.
All right. Thank
Happy
you.
and healthy.
So I
Thank
will adjourn the meeting.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.